and welcome back. This is Don't Watch at Night, a spooky little podcast dedicated to Latin American and Spanish language horror. I'm your host, Valerie.
And I'm Veronica.
And yeah, I got nothing. I was gonna come in with something. I got nothing.
Well, it's not Easter for everybody, but if you're in the States.
Yeah, at the time of this recording, it's Easter Sunday, yeah. I don't really have anything life-wise. You got anything?
Same old. Nothing exciting. I haven't won the lottery yet.
Haven't won the lottery. You've been going to Spurs games, though. Are they done? Are they still doing?
No, they're in the playoffs for the first time
see, I don't know.
For the first time.
Veronica's my Spurs connection. Otherwise, I would have no clue what's going on.
It's exciting.
Did I tell you that when we were in New Orleans for spring break,
I didn't even know you guys were going to New Orleans.
Well, it was very last minute. It's a drivable distance. It's not any further than when we drive out to West Texas, really. So we did it. Mm-hmm. We had a great time. We didn't get to do everything I wanted to do, but that's largely because I dropped the ball in scheduling stuff because it was so last minute. But one of the things we got to do was we got to go see an NBA game. We got to go see the New Orleans team, I don't know what they're called, play the Dallas Mavericks. They happened to be in town.
Boo.
So yeah, we were New Orleans fans for the night. They won. I believe they won. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, I was like, we can't be for Dallas because Veronica won't have that.
No. All right. Usual warning, there will be spoilers. So if you haven't seen the movie, go check it out. And the movie that we will be discussing is 2024's The Wailing, original Spanish title El Llanto, directed by Pedro Martín-Calero. Main stars, Ester Expósito, who plays Andrea, Mathilde Ollivier, who plays Marie, and Malena Villa, who plays Camila. Now, it's an hour and 47 seconds, so you already know my thoughts on that. For me, the sweet spot is an hour and a half, if not a little bit less, and I will have thoughts on that. But the tagline on IMDb, whoever wrote it clearly did not watch this movie because it's described as a group of young people inadvertently resurrect a seemingly invisible evil. And I'm like, that didn't happen in this movie. Nobody resurrected anything.
Yeah, no. That makes it sound like the three girls got a hold of a locket and unlocked the demon.
Yeah, that's not what happened in this movie. Anyway, first fresh thoughts, Valerie, when you saw it. I finished watching it like an hour ago.
Okay. So it's really
I fell asleep last night. Yeah, I fell asleep last night. I was going to watch it last night, but I fell asleep.
Well, I mean, it is a slow burn. I thought it was an interesting little film, very atmospheric, very psychological, atmospheric horror. You know, one of those movies where scenes are played out almost a beat too long, but you know, that feels very intentional. Creepy ass music. There were some elements to this movie, and we'll talk about it, but there were elements of this movie that I find genuinely terrifying. Like the idea that the threat is something you can't see, but it's very much there. So that's terrifying. What did you think of it?
I thought it was an interesting premise. I thought it was long. It was very, like you said, it was a slow burn. It was a very slow burn. You could probably write your master's thesis in the time it takes for this movie to play. I'm like, let's get to the point. But it was an interesting premise, and it was creepy. The thought that someone hovering behind you, but you can't see it.
And because in the beginning you're thinking it's some kind of intruder, and you're like, that's scary. So yeah,
So it is a disturbing. If you're talking about psychological horror, it's disturbing, but it was very slow. It probably could have been easily 15 minutes could have been trimmed off this movie.
When I was scouting this movie, I came across something about it that talked about this is the phrase, talked about the generational trauma of the story, and that initially turned me off of it because I was like, not generational trauma. I can't do that right now. But I did sort of appreciate the way the story, it didn't feel heavy. I don't know. Do you feel that it felt heavy?
No, because it's not generational trauma in the way that we tend to think of generational trauma, like someone perpetrates an abuse and it just kind of gets passed down as learned behavior, generation to generation. It's not that. It does fit, I guess, the definition of generational trauma because it's this curse that seems to affect the female line of this particular family. So in that sense, it is passed from one generation to the next. How why, all those questions we don't get the answer to.
Questions that don't get answered. Yeah. No, so when I read that, I was initially like, I don't know. But then I watched the trailer and I thought the trailer was really compelling. So I thought, okay, let's give this a shot. And so, yeah, it didn't feel heavy. Like I was able to enjoy it for what it was. I did read somewhere, Veronica, and it's not surprising to me then that I would kind of be into this movie a little bit. In one of the reviews we have listed for you guys in show notes, that it was inspired very much by the writing of Mariana Enriquez. And I was like, well, I can see that.
Oh, she's the one who wrote that.
Our Share of Night. Yeah,
the claw.
Our Share of Night. Veronica's doing the claw. Yeah. So I like the minute I read that, I was like, I see that. I can see that in this. Yeah, not every question gets answered by the film's end. Namely, like who is this?
Gets answered.
I called him Old Dude Odeth.
We don't find out. IMDb lists him as, what does he list him as? Man in Black.
Okay. What we do find out that I did appreciate the way they opened with Andrea's story, and then we rewind back to Marie's story. Is it Marie or Maria?
It starts with Marie's story.
No, it starts, like the opening scene, but then we flash forward to Andrea's story. Like the opening scene is Marie in the club. What did you think of that opening scene? Because initially, when we didn't know what this was yet, I was thinking, she's having like a possession in the club. And I was thinking, well, that's kind of an effective way to do that, because with all that strobe lighting, you can't tell what's happening.
I know. So, that was great. That went on a little too long.
Well, it felt very violent. It felt very painful to watch her bashing about, and you can't really make out what's happening, but you can make out enough. So that's when I was thinking this is going to be some kind of possession story. Yeah, we don't really find out why he's coming after these particular women, or why it seems like he's killed a lot of women. Getting into the ending segment already, but like it does seem like there's a lot of victims at the end, and we don't really know what the deal is or what the tie is to that building, and we don't really find out.
Yeah, I mean, I can only surmise that these are all women through the generations, all of this same family line that's passed. I did have the question of like, why is it just now affecting Marie's sister? What was her name?
Lisbeth. Mm-hmm.
Lisbeth. Maybe it goes direct family line. So Marie had a daughter, so it went to her, Andrea. Once Andrea was dead, then it passed to the next female in the family.
But what is that about?
So yeah, I just assumed that all those women that Marie saw in the building were other like ancestors of hers, female ancestors that he's just been tormenting throughout. Who knows how far back down the line it went, because that was quite a few women.
That's a lot of women. All in this apartment building. And,
why this apartment building? I don't know. That magically appears in Argentina and in Spain.
All the way in Madrid, yeah. So, okay, there were like well-played moments where I thought the tension was really well built. We already talked about it, that dance scene in the beginning where we don't really know what's happening, but it definitely feels like something bad is going to happen. And then, we do kind of see her just sort of being under attack, and we just can't see it at the time. And then that situation where she sends her boyfriend the video and he says, "Who's that with you?" That was genuinely a moment of terror, because like that's my big fear, is that someone's going to be in the house and I'm not going to know they're there. And I'm going to like, so, and then the notion that like he's sending her these messages saying, "Who's that in the video?" And she's like, "There's nobody, I'm here by myself." And she's looking and there's nothing. And then she's studying her phone, trying to get closer. And the whole time I'm like, freaking pay attention to what's happening behind you.
I know. I'd turn my chair around and
I know, like sleep.
Do whatever you got to do, but
against the wall. Like,
do whatever you got to do, but turn your chair around.
And then we see that man appear in Pau. That's it. The boyfriend's name, Pau. We see the man appear over in wherever he is in Sydney, Australia, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, just like comes out of nowhere in that room and kills her boyfriend right there. Yeah. What did you make of that moment?
Whatever this entity is, it's not grounded to anyone. It's not tethered to any one spot or any one country. Apparently, it's just kind of hops around at will. Yeah. Why it killed her boyfriend is, again, another question that we don't get answered.
Aside from him attempting to warn Andrea.
No, it just came to me because he also, of course, kills Camila at the end. And what the two had in common was they had become aware of him.
They had seen him.
Believed Andrea and Marie. So that, fair I guess, supposed to, because I was like, well, her adoptive parents, he's never touched them. And because they don't believe.
They don't believe. And they didn't see him in any footage. And that's the thing that we come to realize about this entity, is he can only be seen on video or I guess maybe in a mirror. So Andrea's story, where after we see that attack on Marie in the club, we are in Madrid listening to Andrea's story. She's a student at a university. She's got her long distance boyfriend. The things to know about her are she has just recently found out, it seems, that she's adopted. She's received information in the mail about who her birth mother was. This is also right around the time that she witnesses her boyfriend be murdered by this entity on laptop camera or whatever. So she's going through a lot. And so you start to see her have this real fear. It seemed like it was a fear of falling asleep, constantly staying vigilant on her phone through her phone camera as to what might be happening. And that part kind of felt a little Freddy Krueger to me. I'm trying to remember like what it is she uncovers about her mother.
Been in prison.
She'd been in prison because she had supposedly murdered someone for 20 years. Really? Dang, I didn't know it was that long. At the point that she got out of prison, she went back to that building and she was murdered there. Yeah. Andrea's found out all of this, and she does manage to find the building that's tied to her mother. Didn't she tell her friends that she thinks she saw the building in photos in Argentina, and now here it is in Madrid? Does the building move? Does it seem like the building has moved?
That's another question that we don't have answered of how that happens, but it is the same building that.
Because when I saw the building there with her in Madrid, I was like, wait, isn't this taking place in Madrid? And I was getting confused. And then I feel like she addressed that with her friend. She's like, I saw it in Argentina, and then here it is. And it's like, and nobody's weirded out by that. But,
no, they go in the building with her.
They go in the building.
And it wasn't clear what happened to her. What happened to Andrea in that building?
We don't really see. So they and as they're entering this building, that's when the music got crazy creepy, and then it's like the voices of these women. She's called to the building because she keeps hearing the cries coming through on like her headphones and such, like the wails, the wailing. And so she gets to the freaking room and she's like, wait for me here, and enters the abandoned apartment. And I was like, girl, what? She's like telling these ladies, come and join me on my crazy side quests. And then, she's like, stay here and I'll go in by myself. I'm like, in what world? We hear, because it goes into pitch blackness and the girls are like fumbling around in the dark like idiots. And then they see him. We don't see him, but they see him and they take off running. And then you see Andrea. She's running for the door, but I guess she kind of slams into the door frame. She doesn't quite make it out, and then she's ripped back inside and the door shuts. And that's it. Like that's it on Andrea. He takes her.
And why? But see, that's a question. It's like, why does he, what is he getting out of? That's question number one. What is this entity, this man in black? What is he getting out of this arrangement?
And he's a very pervy man. At the point that Pau has died and she's in a state of mourning and like depression and just folded up in bed, unable to get out of bed. And she falls asleep out of sheer exhaustion. And the entity comes and like lays down with her. And it's just like, just this creepy man. He does other creepy things as the movie goes on, but I'm like, this pervy creep.
What is he getting out of it? And why does he kill Andrea? Why wouldn't you want her to continue on so you could continue on getting whatever you're getting out of this arrangement? It doesn't make sense to me.
I don't know what it is that drives him to finally take their lives. Because it would seem that the whole point of it is just to torment these women for as long as he can. Maybe it's because she had found the center of everything there. But it's like, why not kill the friends that she brought with her? Like, he didn't touch them. He didn't mess with them.
When they're running around, banging on doors, yelling for help. Okay, you're both holding your cell phones in your hands. Call the police.
Get out of the building and call the police.
My first thought, like, call the police. Police.
Whatever it was that's just snatched your friend back is obviously dangerous, and you think you're going to be able to take it on? No, get out of there. And that's like what? Is that like halfway through the movie, if even? So we still have like another stretch of movie left, and you're like, well, where do we go from here? Well, it turns out we
to Camilla, and I'm like, well, who are you? Who the heck are you, Camilla?
We're rewinding to, what was it, 1990s? The 90s?
Yeah, 1990 something. And then I was like, oh, dang, I probably should have paid attention to what the year was when we were introduced to Andrea, which I didn't.
Yeah, I know. I couldn't quite remember. And so then I was trying to figure out what the math would be, because I was assuming this Marie is her mother based off of what we learned in Andrea's story. And so I was just like, does the math for that? I think so. I think it does. Hello, loves. If you're not part of our Patreon family yet, let me tell you why it's worth your time. Number one, it's free. If you are able to join our one and only tier, the $3 tier, that's amazing, and we so appreciate your support. But if not, there's a lot of fun stuff that you can still get with us over on Patreon. From our beloved creepy cocktail hours, and now comes big ass pickle garnish. Summer camp is a bit of escapism. You will always hear me talk up the value of real world horror depicted in art mediums, in this case film. A lot of things aren't as scary as real life right now, but that doesn't mean we don't need them in our stories. To fun watch-alongs like the time I made a blueberry gin sour and we all watched 1995's Copycat together. Harry Connick Jr. spent weeks watching documentaries on serial killers in preparation for his role. I was gonna say, sounds like my life. Just kidding. I do watch a fair amount of documentaries. Plus, a growing collection of full film commentary episodes that are only available to our Patreon listeners.
That was just unnecessary. Like, you didn't have to kill. The guy was handcuffed. He couldn't chase you.
Veronica, he's a killer.
Yeah, but he's supposed to be not just an animalistic killer. He's supposed to be extremely intelligent and smart.
We're having a lot of fun over there, and we want you with us, so join us on Patreon now. We've linked it for you in show notes. You can also learn more by visiting us at don'twatchatnight.com. See you soon. Let's get back to the show. Because we open on the 90s. We're in Argentina. We're in La Plata. We open on Cami. She's a film student. She's a struggling film student.
Yeah, apparently doesn't do very good work. And I'm sorry, I found Camilla a little creepy.
She's creepy,
herself.
Yeah. You can't really square recording someone and stalking them and not letting them know, Camilla.
Yes, I'm like, you're a little creepy, chick. I don't feel so bad for you. What happened to you?
Yeah, I wrote, it's objectively a little creepy to be following someone around with your video camera.
Yeah, because we knew that Andrea's mother, Marie, had gone to prison for 20 years for killing her friend.
Yeah.
And so then it didn't take me long to start figuring out, like, oh, this must be the friend that she kills. And I don't feel too bad about it.
Well, and like, I didn't
Although
connect the dots.
Loosely, like, they just met.
They just
it's
met.
It's very weird.
But as we come to find out, so she's a film student. The reason she kind of even stumbles upon Marie is she's trying to come up with her next big film idea for like the next short doc thing she's going to make. She's on the bus and she sees Marie. There's a review that talks about how this character is labeled as like queer coded in so much as the fact that it's like she's not necessarily out in this movie, maybe not even to herself, but she certainly does develop an infatuation with Marie.
An obsession.
Yeah, she just starts following her one day and she starts recording her and thinking, she's going to make her the subject of her next little documentary without Marie knowing.
Mm-hmm. And then even as she finds out things about Marie that are not there, it's a bunch of red flags, I think. Mm-hmm. She drinks like straight out of the bottle. She's doing drugs. She, according to her father, not very responsible. Mm-hmm. And she's seen enough to think, okay, well, maybe he's not too far off the mark. But all these things that would to a normal person be like a red flag, but this apparently for Camilla, like, ooh, this is somebody I want to get to know better. This is somebody I want in my life.
Fascinated by her. In the course of getting to know her and quote unquote endearing herself to her, like at one point, Cami gets video footage of Marie crying up in her room. This is probably because what we later come to find out is Marie does seem to be pregnant, which would clock for this being the woman who later goes on to have Andrea and gives her up for adoption. So
even though she's smoking like a chimney and drinking alcohol and
doing party drugs and all that stuff, she also she records her topless sitting in a chair in her apartment or in the apartment, in front of a window. And this is where she catches old man in the room with her. Like you said, I think Cami immediately becomes in danger once the entity realizes she's caught him on video. And as she's walking around filming exterior shots and stuff, Cami also hears the wailing in her camcorder headphones. Once you've been marked, you start hearing the wailing too. And maybe that's a telltale sign that your days are numbered. Once Cami realizes this, she tries to warn Marie about it. And so this is the part of the movie that kind of very quickly picked up, because I was just like, all right, let's get what's happening. How are we going to move this plot forward? Camilla's outside. She sees Marie entering the club with her friends, and we see that she's dressed like this is the opening scene that we started the movie on, where she's going into the club and she's going to go in there and dance. She's all partied up, drugged out, been drinking, and she's going to get assaulted in the club by this man in black. And so then the next time she sees Camilla, she's all banged up because she had just came from that night. And so Camilla takes her back to her house and shows her the footage that she has. This is where Marie learns that she's been videotaping her, and she's just like, you pervert, what have you been doing? And And she sees the man in black in the window, and she immediately freaks out. At that point, there's a really great split-second scene in that room where we see the man in black in the room. Did you see him? But they don't see him. You didn't see it?
No.
I can't remember if it was like in the mirror or what, but it's like he's there. First we see that scene, and then in the next second, that's when she's lifted up into the air and her neck is broken. So it's like we know that he's the one who killed her, who broke her neck, not Marie. And then you do remember this is where Marie becomes aware that he's in the room. He's behind her. He's like feeling her up. Like he's just a very gross old man. And then when he finally lets her go, that's when she flees the room, and that's when she flees the house. And so from there, she's on the run because she's suspected to have been the one who murdered this girl when she knows she hasn't. I thought the scene where she's on the phone at the payphone pleading with her father, I thought that was really emotional and beautifully done. Good performance by the actress. Heartbreaking.
Yeah, I mean, I think she conveyed her terror even when she was in the room and the old man was behind her really well. But again, when she's on the phone with her, why do people always, it's like, get to the point. If you know time is of the essence, like get to the point of what your message is. And they never do that.
Yeah.
Promise me, if you ever make a movie, Valerie, and you have someone make a phone call, have them get to the point. It's very annoying. For the audience, it's like, spit it out, just say it.
You feel her desperate hopelessness, and there's some messages that I think the film is attempting to grapple in a certain way with. There was a review from the film Verdict written by Stephen Dalton, and he says the Wailing. Let me read the full quote. The Wailing stumbles a little in its final act, leaning too heavily on conventional haunted house tropes, spooky jump scares, and muddled explanations. Even so, this is still a supremely confident debut with a timely message about violence against women being a real-life, never-ending horror story, and maybe just sort of this is me adding onto the quote, and maybe just the ongoing agony of just like struggling to convey that story because women are so consistently just not believed or discredited or all of those things. And you do kind of, even though she hasn't said anything, you're right, she never gets around to telling her father. Her father does kind of start off from going from being supportive and trying to help her through it to essentially by the end of the phone call saying, your sister's never going to be anything like you. I'm not going to let you talk to her. Pushes her away before finally saying, just come home, so that basically what he's going to do is, you need help. We're going to get you some help. For him,
this is a daughter with substance abuse issues. So I can understand as a parent not wanting that to affect my other child.
Well, sure, but when someone is clearly going through a moment of crisis, like saying she's nothing like you, I'm not going to let you talk, like that seems unnecessarily ugly.
Well, I didn't hear that tone when he was saying it. It was more like setting a boundary. I didn't see it as he was turning his back on her. He was just imploring her to come home.
I saw it as like, come home, we're going to turn you in, which is problematic since she knows she didn't kill this girl.
Put yourself in the dad's shoe. We know that something supernatural is going on, but if someone were to come to you and say,
oh, well, yeah, sure,
there's this supernatural entity, you can't fault someone for thinking, is this the drugs? Is this the booze? Is this to not believe that?
As Marie gets to the building, she stumbles upon the building. What compels her to go in the building, I'm not quite sure, but she goes in the building. We get some interesting little, not even jump scare moments, but just creepy moments. There's a moment like she's walking in the hallway with her lighter, and we see the first of what would be many women, but we see a woman down in the hallway at the back. And then with each flickering of the lighter, the woman's getting closer, the woman's getting closer, the woman's getting closer, and just kind of like silently screaming in the background, and you're like, ah. And then she does start to, more women are revealed to her, more of his victims are revealed to her in this space, and she sees her mom
hanging by her hair.
And so she goes trying to like help her mom. So he assaults her, and why he decides to spare her in that moment, I don't know.
That's my question. Like, why did he kill Andrea for going in the building, but not?
You think maybe he knew she was pregnant, and she's like,
maybe that would be the only. That would be the only.
Because he expels her from the building. He kicks her out and spares her.
Like a bouncer.
Yeah,
throws
like
her
just
out.
body slams her out there. And so then she gets picked up and hauled away by the police. And this is how she gets caught for the murder of Camilla. Last name I don't remember. And so you think that's going to be it. You think that's where the film ends. Only it doesn't. What did you make of the jump to Lisbeth and
incorporating first I was like,
that
okay,
story?
And now who are you? Because we're just in a bathroom somewhere in some corporate building, and some woman
in Brussels, right? It's in Brussels. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, because then I was putting it together. Okay, I do remember Andrea's mom telling her, "You do have an aunt in Brussels. Do you want us to contact her?" And I guess it was Lisbeth.
Oh, that's right. She does say that. Yeah, and you do wonder what becomes of her sister. So I'm glad that the film tied this in, just so we get a sense of what is going to become of her. It sounds like she is starting to experience attacks by this man. And she meets with Andrea's, at the end of the film is just her meeting with Andrea's mom and Andrea's friend. And she's confiding in them that, yeah, this is what's starting to happen to me as well. And film ends there.
And it ends with the same kind of little, I don't know what you call them, the little title that says Lisbeth and then the year, which is the way each other subsequent woman was introduced previously. So I don't know how to interpret that ending. I don't know if that means it's just and so it goes, like this is just going to continue on, or does the fact that Andrea's mother and Andrea's friend, who was there, she was one of the friends that was there in the building with her when Andrea was killed, is their involvement now going to change the course of things, and they will find a way to break this? Or because they know and they're now going to believe, what's to stop the man in black from just snapping their neck, right? It doesn't even, he doesn't fart around. If he wants to kill you, he's just, snap of a neck and you're done. Like there's no warning, so I don't know how to interpret that ending.
Yeah. And it is very interesting how this is one of those hauntings where it's like, it's not tied to a place. Even though he does have a stronghold in that particular building, it does seem like he can just manifest that building wherever he wants to. So he can bring that building to Brussels if he so chooses and bring the terror to her. It does kind of give the impression that it's like, the story goes on.
And so if we do follow that allegory of it, and I don't know what the director's intention was. I don't know if he was just making a creepy movie about a family cursed, or if this is allegorical to violence against women, domestic violence, and is the kind of unresolved ending just to signify that it is a problem that continues. There is no end.
There is no end.
Which is kind of depressing.
Yeah. Well, here's where we get in with that sneaking in that generational trauma. Yeah.
So,
very interesting director and very interesting story. I think if you haven't watched this yet, it's definitely worth a watch. Where would you rate this on the light switch scale?
What is our scale?
Well, I don't think we've ever given.
Did we ever define it?
It's like, well, it's like if you can watch it in the dark. Or, you might need one light, or you might need up to like all the lights because it's the scariest crap ever. I don't know that we've never had a scariest crap ever. Were there jump scares that caught you?
Oh, I think I jumped when he appeared in the boyfriend's.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't expecting it to just be able to appear.
Well, it happened so fast, too. It's like he's there and then bam, he's right there and he's attacking. And you're like,
So I think that made me jump a little bit. Maybe have a little lamp next to you.
A little lamp. I mean, I always say,
most of the movie is very slow paced and nothing much is happening.
But eerie. There's something about slow pace sometimes that it's just like, I've said this before, like the scene goes on a beat too long. And so you think, oh my God, something's going to happen. And so you start studying the screen because you're like, oh my God, something's going to happen. And you have to prepare yourself. And then nothing happens. It's that kind of tension. With this film, with a lot of these films, it's like the first time you see it, you might need a light. After that, you'll be fine. But just to get through it, you might need a light. For this one, would you recommend this one to people?
I mean, I think it's good. It's just slow. They would just like trim some of the fat off of it. I think it would be a much better movie. I always hesitate to say it was enjoyable for a horror movie because I don't think that's the right descriptor.
It pulled you in, maybe. Like if there was a sequel, would you tune in? Like,
is there going to be a sequel?
No, but like if the story did continue, would it did it interest you enough that you would be intrigued?
Well, I mean, I want to know why. I want to know where did this curse originate, or how did this start? How does this entity attach to this particular line of women?
Right. Yeah, like if we got to learn more, that would be cool. That would be cool because like there is another review that we included for you guys. This is from the Nightmare on Film Street podcast. So Jonathan Dehan talked about how it is a story that sort of leaves you wanting more. It's a delicate balance, he says, of solving a mystery and then coming up against something you can't fully explain in
And I don't
plot.
expect horror to ever like answer every question, because I think sometimes you can know too much and then that takes away some of the mystery, some of the enigma, but give us at least a ballpark idea, something.
Yeah.
Something that then we can theorize about and make up our own crap.
But like as a directorial debut,
I think
really, really cool, really promising. So for sure, give it a look.
There's a Korean film called The Wailing also.
I saw that too.
Potentially
I saw that too. That's why I was sure to tell you the year, because it's like, don't watch the Korean. You're gonna watch the wrong one, and then we're gonna be
talking about two different movies.
The Wailing. You said 2025?
2024.
2024. Sorry. Well, that's not even showing up on IMDb. Or on Rotten Tomatoes. Nobody's rated it. Here it is. I don't know why I wasn't. So it has 75% on Tomato Meter.
That's about fair. I would say that. I would agree with that.
Somebody wrote good actresses, bad script, awful wig. That's, I think that's harsh. I enjoyed it for what it was. But yes, there are questions that I have. Still a compelling story though. So was there any particular scene or sequence that you felt you would have immediately cut or trimmed the fat on a little bit?
Like, I don't think we needed 2 scenes of it being shown that Camilla's work in school
is abysmal.
I was like, I think that's kind of repetitive.
Like watching, I did write after the second film she submitted, and she asked the professor what he thinks, and she's like, I don't believe he didn't like it. And then he just eviscerates her. And I was like, damn, like I would drop out and change my major at that point.
Do you believe me now?
Yeah, I agree. Like that, we don't need 2 scenes of that. I don't really feel that the other film student who very clearly has a crush on her and she's not interested, I don't think we needed him. He doesn't accomplish anything. We didn't need that character at all, in my opinion. This is the last call. Our next episode in April will be book club episode, and we're going to be discussing This Thing Between Us by Gus Moreno. I am going to be doing the audiobook on this one. This will be my first time doing an audiobook for the podcast. We'll see how I do. I mean, I've done audiobooks and I do fine, but in terms of doing something for the podcast, my only things with audiobooks is like I enjoy listening to them. My retention is not always so great. And I think we've talked about this before, because it's like you can't go back and look at passages. So it's like you're listening to stuff, but unless you pause and go back, it doesn't necessarily stay with you. That'll be our next episode in April. So if you haven't read that yet, please join us in reading that book. You can join us on Patreon and kick off some book club discussion over there on this book as well. But we will have drink pairings rolling out for that. And that will be a video episode for the month of April. Patreon people get their video episodes early, so you would get your book club episode ahead of when it is published on podcast platforms. So all the more reason to come join us over on Patreon, and it's free to join.
We went and saw that movie Project Hail Mary.
Oh yeah, how was it?
It was a good movie.
Alex wants to go see it too. It's just we don't have an opportunity to see it. I have not read the book. We saw the new Mario. We took the kids to see the new Mario, which I very nearly fell asleep in the middle of it. And so did Alex, because it was a little bit of for parents, a little bit of a snooze fest. But the kids loved it. So
no, Project Hail Mary is really good.
Did I tell you real quick, and then I'll let you go? But I started watching the latest edition of the Conjuring series. I think it's called Last Rites. It's available on HBO now. And so I started streaming it, was thinking I was going to watch it and then like record myself doing a film commentary. Got like an hour into the movie of me just talking to myself before realizing I was not mic'd up. So I was just talking to myself, watching this movie. So at that point, I just like took it from a sign from the heavens that it's like, I'm not meant to do this movie right now. So I just shut it down. And I haven't even finished the film. I need to go back and watch it for myself. Okay. But it was properly creepy. What I've heard about it is that it's somewhat of a return to like the formula of the first Conjuring, which I'm excited. I think the first Conjuring was...
That's the only one I've Is that the one with the husband and wife?
Yes.
It's based
Yeah.
on real life? Okay.
The Warrens,
I've only seen the first one. I haven't seen any of the rest.
I have at this point, I've seen all of the Conjurings. I haven't seen any of the little spin-offs like the Annabelles, the Nun. I haven't seen those. I don't know that I want to see. I ain't seeing no movie about no possessed doll. I'm not doing it. So I have enjoyed the Conjurings. And so we'll see. I need to finish this one and then I'll give my final verdict on it. But it seemed properly creepy. All right, friends. I guess that's it. Thank you so much for listening, and we will see you next time.
Bye. Don't Watch at Night is a Nest production. Executive producers are Valerie and me. Editing by Valerie. Music by Omar Chakor. Special thanks to Lorenzo Villarreal and Alex Street for production support for this episode. Listen to any new episodes every other Monday, and if you like our show, give us a rate and a review to help us grow.